Welcome back to Moving with Meaning. I am your host, Krystal B. Clark. Yes, we are in February talking about inclusion and diversity and how embracing all of that improves and creates a level of innovation and creativity and opens our minds to different perspectives. And that's a competitive edge that any company or individual would love to have these days, wouldn't you say? So, in the last two episodes, we discussed inclusion and diversity as it applies to companies adopting those best practices and how it would benefit the companies, right? In the first one, we touched it on belonging from a personal aspect for sure. Okay. So we did touch on those two items. On this episode, we're going to talk about how, we want to know how inclusion and diversity helps with career advancement, because that's what we do, right? We don't want to stay at the same level. Maybe some people do, but majority of the individuals that I'm talking to, they try to level up, okay? And inclusion really helps do that, or inclusive hiring really helps open up career opportunities and advancement to a lot of individuals, okay? And that includes the individuals or the person who is actually putting in this particular hiring aspect as well. So you're doing a lot of other individuals a service for sure, but you're doing yourself a service because you're now opening up your mind to something that you previously probably have never done before. And just, again, like I said before, just adding additional information. And now that you're more informed, then you start to make the change and the shift to spread that love. Okay. So in this episode, we're going to call it about paths to success. All right, let's dig into that. So as always, I always want to do a quick summary of what we'll talk about in this entire episode, and everything I just layer in on top of that to seal the deal. Okay, so we're going to summarize this as far as embracing inclusive hiring for career advancement. Here we go. Inclusive hiring practices are not only a moral imperative, they're a strategic advantage that drives innovation and opens new career opportunities. Companies that commit to diversity empower employees to leverage their unique perspectives, leading to richer career trajectories and a more dynamic workplace. So when organizations build teams with varied backgrounds and experiences, they cultivate a culture where every voice contributes to success, fueling creativity and continuous improvement. I love it all day, every day. Okay, love it, breathe it, and just preach it. Okay, so yeah, you know what? I think this is so important about embracing diversity, because a lot of people I would look at it as almost as a disservice to the employees who are there. So sometimes it's more of a, I don't want to say like a cult or whatever else, but it's like a clique. So when you start a company and you start building folks, and then they're kind of in there for a long time and they're used to things being a certain way, it's hard to branch out to add new people. And I've experienced this, like back in college when I worked at Best Buy, and in the different departments or whatever, different folks from different departments, we would kind of get together and we had this little crew. Okay. And we included everybody. Everybody was welcome. Okay. But there's just this one main crew that was always together. So I think every weekend we would dedicate, I think it was every weekend. I'm trying to see if it was that frequent, but I think every weekend, at least once a month, this particular group would get together and just powwow and have a good time. And I really applaud us. Like, I'm talking about it now, but I'm like, wow, we were really good about getting together and building that bond and keeping that together. Now, obviously that kind of faded away once people graduated and moved on, but it was a firm standing that, like, we got together. So when we invited other people from the outside in, it'd be like, let me think about that. But no, we really do want to embrace new ideas. Sometimes people got to be vetted first before you add them into the personal circle. But ideally, a lot of diversity and inclusion really helps build, okay? Because if you're not surrounded by people that's not adding value to you and vice versa, we need to open up or move on. Something got to happen here. So always, we talk about the benefits. All right. So we're going to talk about a couple of benefits. What do I have? Three benefits here, where we talk about incorporating the diversity of voices in the workplace. Again, this is hitting on a little bit from last time, but it is really about personally. How does this personally affect you? Like when you speak up and your adds to your voice, how does that help advance your career? Okay, and I'm going to look at it in various different lenses, like specific lenses, to really help you not get into the idea of the generic. Like we always hear the generic term for these things. Okay, but I really want to like dive into this and explain and expound on that, so that that level of knowledge and understanding is rooted in you. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, number one, enhanced innovation and problem solving. This means diverse teams bring a broad range of perspectives that lead to creative, out of the box solutions. So, an example of this one would be, and this is similar to one of the examples that I gave last time, and more importantly, it's to a lot of my background in data and technology. Okay. But again, like as I said, then apply this to whatever industry that you're in. So, an example would be a tech startup has a project to redesign an app benefited enormously when team members from different cultural and professional backgrounds contributed unique ideas. Their varied insights led to a more user-friendly design that resonated with a global audience, boosting the product's success and propelling team members' careers forward. I love this, primarily because of the aspect of different professional backgrounds, but also different educational backgrounds. Okay, some people who don't have maybe, I don't know, an advanced degree or extended degree past maybe even high school, and you don't know. You're talking to a bunch of different individuals, okay, and you're appealing to all of them. 9 times out of 10, you're going to appeal to all of them, because if they're not there now, they will be. That's the way I look at it. You may not be there right now, but you will be. Your time's coming, okay? And you want to appeal to that because they're looking at it with, again, a different perspective, a different lens. So you want to make sure that if anything, and the term that we use a lot is user friendliness. And that goes to anyone when you're building a web or designing a website. You want it to look, you don't want to look at, like, you want it to be attractive. Okay, you don't want it to be difficult to navigate and push all the buttons and find all these different areas. You want it to be kind of really seamless. So what ends up happening is when you take in all that input and you start to learn and understand all these different perspectives, you've broadened your range. And so now when you go and deal with other products, you are looking at it and applying that same knowledge and understanding to that. And you're bringing more value as you move forward, because that stuff stays with you. All right. It's very difficult and sometimes to put that level of attentiveness and detail into a resume. So make sure that you speak to it in any kind of interview. But it definitely does move your career forward because you've learned something, okay, and you've gained a level of input. Number 2, increased mentorship and development opportunities. I can't get enough of this. Y'all gonna hear me saying this all the way through this series, because I believe heavily in mentorship and development programs, or at least opportunities. All right. So companies committed to diversity often establish mentorship and professional development programs that help employees from all backgrounds advance in their careers. This includes networking, folks, networking. How else would you meet someone else in a different area of the business or a different industry if you don't network and go into these different events, social gatherings? There's a lot that is being put on, virtual and physical. You guys need to research that stuff and get out there. I mean, if you'll go to an anime, a Power Ranger, or a Marvel Comic-Con thing, you can go to these events. You can do that, okay? Just as much as you look for them, look for these. There's great for gamers. I mean, I'm throwing out everything from things that you consider a hobby that other people actually have as a profession. So you could go, the world is out there for this, okay? So an example of this would be at a leading financial firm, a cross-department mentorship program paired junior employees with senior leaders from different cultures and specialities, resulting in accelerated promotions and a more supportive work network. Yes. So within you want to network within your company too. Okay. And the more people that you speak to, you never know when your name comes up in one of their conversations that they're having. And if their experience with you is more positive and they've had more exposure to you, and someone may not have had maybe that same experience with you, and they're kind of discussing that together, that person can definitely, if they're mature, which they should be, and you have, like I said, a positive relationship, they can offer additional insight that you guys didn't get because of your interaction that will make them understand things a little bit differently. Okay, so it's all about support. Okay, I had worked with a company before in my past, and I love this. They dedicated a budget for learning. So it was essentially, I don't care what they learn, what it is, as long as they learn something. So at that company, they basically said, go pick what you want to learn. And it was like a technology that I was working in at the time. And I was like, I've been kind of rolling with this for a little bit, but I don't know if I'm doing it right. And I want to ask some questions. So I went and tapped in on that, and they approved it. Man, I went in that bad boy and came out a whole new person. Okay. And knew a whole lot of stuff. My boss was asking me, he's like, what you learn in there? Can you show me some of this stuff? So that really helps skyrocket. I mean, think about doing that at least once a year to do something like that, and how just formal training adds onto real world experiences. Man, it gives you a whole new perspective. But I give major props to that company for having, I forget what he called it, but it was like a learning budget. It wasn't like a research maybe I don't know what it was, but it was a budget dedicated. I mean, a pool of money dedicated to the people in that entire company for them to take one training. And they did. He was like, I just want them to do one. It was almost like a requirement. Okay. Major props. And it did advance my career. I mean, it put me in a whole different league. Just that one course did. So thank y'all. And everybody else, take note. Y'all need to do it. Third, broader network and career mobility. Inclusive workplaces expand professional networks by connecting individuals from various disciplines and backgrounds, creating pathways for career progression and new roles within the organization. An example of this would be an international marketing agency's diversity initiative led to the creation of an internal network that not only improved collaboration, but also opened up opportunities for lateral moves, okay, and international assignments, enhancing overall career growth. Now, here's the thing. Not every company is going to have like a global impact. Okay, some do. A lot of the ones that I were in did. Okay, and then there are a lot of ones that I was in didn't. Okay, but the point is that when you offer certain internal networks, and I'm going to give you an example here. There is a term called community of practice, COP. Okay, and so these are essentially voluntary. Okay, and let's say, for example, I'm in a company, and I don't know, I really like data analytics or something like that. Okay, which I do, but I really like it. So I'm going to start up a group and kind of I'll go and talk to the internal communications team and say, hey, I would like to start up this group. I want to put a post in this newsletter that we'll be meeting on this day. If anyone's interested, please email me about this, and that. And so what ends up happening is I'm starting to manage just insights of this. I'm running different workshops every now and then. I'm reaching out to have different folks speaking in this, right? And I'm just creating this pool of network of individuals who not only maybe love analytics as much as I do, but maybe want to learn more about it. Okay. And this opportunity of doing this is actually a way of mentoring, is a way of exposing others to different ideas, right? And then again, networking. I probably would have never met with any of these people if I hadn't put this opportunity out, if I hadn't even created this group, this interest group is really what it is. So I am like amening on that, okay? So those are great. Oh, you know what? I got another one here. The fourth one would be increased adaptability and resilience. So working in an inclusive environment teaches adaptability as employees learn to navigate complex challenges with input from diverse viewpoints. An example would be a multinational retail company restructured its marketing strategy during an economic downturn by leveraging insights from its culturally diverse team. This collective adaptability not only resulted in a successful pivot, but Also provided team members with new skills and confidence, enhancing their long-term career resilience. Yes, I'm all about resilience, specifically emotional resilience, but it is so important that when you guys are working a project or moving down a path, that when a barrier or a challenge comes into place, you are able to bounce back, reset, and continue. Okay. That, because everything isn't going to be perfect. And you having the skill of being able to work in environments that aren't ideal, I mean, that is essential. Okay, that puts you a level above, right? So that's another point that you want to look at as far as how well you deal with conflict, how well you deal with interruptions, and how you overcome them. Great conversation for an interview, to be honest with you. I always bring it up all the time. All right, so those are great benefits. Again, people object to them. Why do companies in some cases object to this inclusive hiring? We're going to jump into this again, but then I also want to make sure that we understand that this is from an individual perspective. Okay, so it's not so much companies, but it's maybe the companies heard the employees' voices about it, and these are some of the things that it may have come up. Okay, and this is looking at people who are existing there. So number one is feeling threatened by new talent. Some companies may fear that bringing in diverse talent could challenge established power structures or disrupt traditional ways of thinking. Of course, I can tell you all the time, like I've come into a new company, I have a lot of experience when I come, so I bring a lot of value. A lot of companies or a lot of people in the company, they will not embrace that. They don't look at me as adding value. They look at me as a threat to them moving up. You're looking like, what? Like I'm here to do this job. I'm not here to take your job. If anything, you should want to learn from me. But I've dealt with that a lot. I mean, I've had to leave companies. If I could have left this one company in 3 months, I would have left them. I'm serious. It gets so bad and so toxic sometimes. So I'm bringing that up because I want to make sure that companies also understand that when they do this, they also need to cultivate this change with the existing employees so that they're not treating this new talent that's coming in as a threat. Okay, they're looking at this as something that is helpful to advance their own careers. Okay, so it's really important to also, really just hammer that in and have that constant conversation with individuals. And there's plenty of platforms for that, departmental meetings, town hall meetings, and things like that. Really hammer those things in. Another objection would be the resistance to change. We've heard this already before. Organizations deeply rooted in conventional practices may worry that rapid diversity initiatives could be too far out of the trend, leading to uncertainty about how to integrate new perspectives. Yeah, and that's valid. I mean, when some people just don't like change. That really is, and a lot of folks love it. So it's about just maturing and growing and supporting those who are just uncertain about it. I don't necessarily think it's more or less fear. It's like, oh my God, like how am I supposed to be doing this? We've been doing this, working this way for years. Now you want me to change? Like I have to learn something new, and they're just uncomfortable about it. So that's okay. We just need to dig it a little deeper and take that challenge head on, okay? But we're not going to shy away from it just because there's a few folks who are just uncomfortable. We just need to help guide those individuals. And again, that when you help, some people are just so resistant that change is going to come. They're going to still resist it, and either they're going to leave or they're just going to fall behind. That's just what it is. It's just unfortunate. Okay, there will be some folks that ends up getting lost in that case, but hopefully that experience will change where they go, because they're going to go somewhere else that has this is so in trend now. This is diversity and perspectives. It's everywhere. You go somewhere, once you leave somewhere where you were just fighting because you don't want to go to change, and you leave somewhere, you're going to a different environment that you're going to have to adopt their practices. Okay, so you're already embracing change. It's just you're trying to embrace change on your terms. It's all about control. Okay, which leads me into the third, which is perceived loss of control. Leaders may feel that diversifying their team could dilute their vision or decision-making processes if different viewpoints create more complexity. And yes, I ran into this as well. Okay, it is what it is. Okay, and I've brought different viewpoints and said, all I would say is consider this, okay? Consider this. And it's one of those things where certain people just don't deal well with being, I don't know the word to like question, challenge. And it's not really that. It's just saying, this is the experience I've had with this. Add another layer to protect us from that. Okay. Or let's think about this and add this and just something to ponder on. Just because you bring an idea and that you've thought about it really hard and long or whatever, and you bring it to the floor, and then some people offer different perspectives for consideration, that's like great, because I want this to succeed. I need your voice to make it so it does. That's the way, like, shift the mindset, folks. People are opening up to tell you something so that what you are wanting, your vision, does happen. That's all it is. Okay, so don't take it as a challenge or a threat, okay, or a loss of control. That's actually what you want. You want to hear people speak up. Okay, so I want to offer again three, and this was a loaded episode, I'll be honest with you, but to make sure that we dig this in, okay, I want to offer three opportunities as far as folks to consider when we start to be more inclusive in a work culture environment. One, career development programs. Inclusive environments often foster comprehensive training and mentorship opportunities, paving the way for continuous professional growth. So a lot of companies already have this. We may not just be taking advantage of it. So a lot of companies will pay for certifications. They will pay for advanced or extended courses and things like that. Find your way and just know if we're all including and getting different people coming in that are probably more experienced and skilled in something, take the training, take the initiative, find the training and submit it for approval. So it's very simple. Okay, don't sit there and pout. Move, do something. Number two, advanced opportunities. With diverse viewpoints and equal opportunity initiatives, employees find more transparent career paths and greater potential for promotions. Absolutely. Especially in corporations or organizations that have a lot of lateral, right? It's maybe not hierarchical, like it's not a vertical move. My apologies. Maybe it's not a vertical move up, but promotions, just being promoted into a different team is different, right? Because different pay rates and skill sets are applied to each one of those. So consider that opportunity and be very transparent about that. Number three, cross-functional collaboration. Inclusive teams create a melting pot of ideas, encouraging collaborations that lead to groundbreaking projects and expanding career horizons. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. So we want to look beyond our future. So when we get and expose ourselves to different viewpoints and different backgrounds, we get to really see possibility. You really get to see opportunity because the world is much larger than what you think. It really is. So we want to expand our range of vision so that we can, explore those things. And that is what diversity brings, to be quite honest with you. It really does. It makes you so much better than what you think. It really does. Nothing to be afraid of. So, all right. So this was a great episode. I am going to leave you with this last message just to seal the deal. Yes, we got to make sure that we recap and make this bad boy come full circle. And this is a very motivational, inspirational message I am putting out there just for you. All right. True change comes from discovery, not from comparison. When companies embrace diversity, they unlock the power of innovation and open doors to endless opportunities. By adopting an inclusive environment, you not only empower your employees to reach their highest potential, but you also pave the way for your organization to thrive in a rapidly evolving world. Embrace diversity today and watch your company and its people soar to new heights. Amen all day. Okay, double down, 100, throw all that in there. Yes, we are doing the dang thing, and I hope you move forward in this year, wherever you are, with the idea to adopt inclusion and diversity, to look at things as an opportunity and not as a challenge to the norm. Okay? In fact, you want disruption. You want those kinds of things because it challenges you to grow and become more resilient. all day, every day. All right. So as always, you guys know you could reach me at Moving with Meaning, the podcast. Okay. If you want a double dose of things like this, these kinds of conversations with change makers and a little bit more context of overcoming adversity, go ahead and head over there. I am on Amazon Music, Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Podcasts. Check me out. Again, go and throw up my little graphic here. Seek me out on any of these platforms. Check me out, link, follow, subscribe, DM me, contact me. I love to hear your insights, your inputs, your feedback. Hey, it only makes me better. All right. Head over to my website, movingwithmeaning.com, throwing that up there. If you are interested in any of the services that I provide there. So I do ghostwriting as well. So if you want your story written, holla at me. Holla at you, girl. I got you. Okay. If your company is looking for some professional speaking engagements to inspire the team and the leadership, I'm your girl. I got you. As well as workshops. I do professional and leadership development workshops as well as career and life planning. So I'm coming through there, guys. Don't worry. I'm trying to catch up with the train and really give back a lot of knowledge that I have experienced over the years in just the tough corporate IT structure and how I was able to just basically use that to my advantage, empower myself, and grow into a continuous improvement and growth mindset and get out of that survival mindset. All right. So you got to have a lot of values and a lot of skill sets. But if you don't have the right mindset, it just never gets to the full potential that you want it to be. And trust me, once you do that, I'm telling you, you will go so much further than you even thought you could have. All right. Well, I enjoyed you guys today. Tune in again next week for the closing episode of this Diversity and Inclusion Month. But as always, in the meantime, just keep moving.